In this tutorial, we will be writing a program to prompt the user for their name and their age, and we will calculate the year that they were born. And we will be using constants in this program. So going back to our planning doc, the first thing, remember, we want to do is to do a sample run. So what will our program look like when the user runs our program? So again, welcome. I will calculate the year you were born when you enter your age you will be this year. Okay, I might put that on a separate line. That might look better. So if I haven't had my birthday yet, I'm going to, for the calculation, we're going to want to know how old they will be this year, because we need to account if they haven't had their birthday yet or if they have had their birthday. So I'm going to say enter, or I'll ask them a question. What is your name? And let's say they enter in Sally. And then I'll say, how old are you, Sally? So I'll echo out their name that they typed in. And let's say they type in 20. And I might, if my users end up putting how old they are right now, the calculation will be off. So I'm hoping my directions are enough to make them enter their age this year. But if not, I may have to go back and reword this a little bit. Like, how old will you be this year? Something like that. Okay, and then I will say you were born in, and it's 2020 right now, so they were born in 2000. And then I'll say goodbye. Okay, so this is my program right here. This is what it will look like when it is run. So again, you have 4 steps. In the inches calculator, there were 5 steps, but we've combined steps A and B so that all the input is just listed in one place. And then the next thing you would do is list your output, and then any calculations, and then all the steps. So we kind of streamlined the questions. So the first thing is identify user input and the type. So they're going to be entering their name and their age, and we want them to enter whole numbers for their age. So their name, and then name will be a string, and their age will be an int. Okay, and then what is the program output? Okay, the output is the year they were born, which is also an integer. So the year, so we'll call that the birth year, will be an integer. Okay, so that was the only other output they would do. And let's see, what calculation? So we're going to have to calculate the year they were born in. So their birth year is going to be the current year minus their age. And so what we want to do is, instead of saying the current year like that, 2020, we're going to make a constant and call it current year. Okay, and so I'm going to make a constant right here. And remember, a constant is just a variable that doesn't change throughout the program calculation. And we can put constant declarations outside of main. So I'm going to set the current year to 2020. And then the birth year will be the current year. And I'll subtract their age. So that's going to calculate the birth year. So I have my inputs, my outputs, and then I'm going to calculate my output. So then we're ready to do our steps. So the first step is to print the welcome message. And then we're going to prompt for their name. And then let's see, what else did we do? Let's go look back up at our sample run. Oh, and then we're going to ask them their age, and we're going to echo their name. Prompt for age, echo name. And then we will input age into variable age. So we're going to, whatever they type in, oops, I forgot a step, right? I prompt for their name, but I forgot to input it. So input the name into variable, and we're going to call that name, I think. Yeah, name. Okay, so we'll prompt for their name, we'll input their name, and then we'll prompt for their age and echo the name, because we're going to add that to our prompt, right, their name, and then we'll input age into variable age. Okay, and then we want to set birth year to the current year minus the age, and then I want to print, I think I have my numbers all mixed up. So 4, this is step 5, this is step 6, this is step 7. So I want to print a message with the year they were born. And then I want to print the goodbye message. Okay, so I'm going to copy those steps and I'll put them into my program and I'm going to comment them out. And I'm just doing this part. You don't have to do this part, but for me it's easier than going back and forth. Okay, so then we're ready to write our program. Main. Okay. So let's go back and look at all of our variables, right? Because that's what's going to be first. So we have name, age, birth year, and current year. So we need to declare all of those at the top of our program. So you always want to go back and look at all the variables that you're using and then declare them at the top and give them a default value. So I'm going to create name and set it to an empty string. I'll create age and I'll set it to 0. I'll create birth year and I'll set it to 0. And then we have to create that constant current year. But I'm just going to create that outside of main. And the reason we do this is because constants don't change in our program. So later on when we start learning about functions, this number will be accessible throughout all of our functions. And let's say we use current year 100 times in our program. And then what happens when we go to next year? I don't want to have to do a search and replace to change 2020 to 2021. So when 2021 rolls around, all I have to do is change it in one place. And then wherever I use the variable current year, it will contain 2021. So that's another benefit for using constants. Okay, so then I'm ready to print, follow my steps, right? So I'm going to print welcome. And then I'm going to print that other message. And I'll go just copy and paste it. It'll be quicker that way. So see how important it is to plan? Because if you have it all laid out the way you want it to look, it's so much easier just to write your program. Then I'm going to prompt for their name and input name into variable name. And remember, in Python, we do this in one statement. We're going to set name to input, and then I'm going to ask them, what is your name? Okay, and then since input will take whatever they type and it converts it to a string of characters, we're good with that because we want name to be a string of characters. And then I'm going to prompt them for their age, but I'm going to echo the name. So I'm going to have to do something tricky with this. So let's see. I'm going to prompt for their name and echo their age. So, or prompt for their age. So I'm going to say age, sign input, how old are you? And then concatenate that with their name. And then concatenate that with a question mark. And I'm hoping this will work, but we'll see. Okay, and that, whatever they type in will go into age. But remember, input grabs all the characters and changes it to a string of characters. And we want age to be a number so we can do math. And what type of number do we want it to be? We want it to be an int. So I'm going to wrap all that into the int function. Okay, now we're on step 6. So we're going to set the birth year to current year and subtract their age. And then I'll print a message, print, you were born in birth year. And I'll give them an exclamation point, and then, whoops, and then I'll print goodbye. Okay, let's run this and see what's going on. So what's your name? Sally. How old are you, Sally? 20. That was when my sample run. You were born in 2020. Okay, it looks good. Our input matches our sample run, right? When we calculated how old the birth year for this person, that's what we got. So it looks good, but my output looks rather messy. So I think I want to add a new line before that, and then see how the age is printing, or they're typing the age right next to the question mark. I want to add a space there because I don't like that. And then I'm going to print a new line before I print the output, and then before I print the goodbye. So let's see what that does. So Sally, how old are you, Sally? 20. You were born in 20. Oh, that looks good, but look at this. Okay, that doesn't look good. We usually put an exclamation point right next to the last character. So we're going to have to change the separator character in the print function to be the empty character. So because right now what Python is doing is with each argument, it's putting a space between each argument as it's printing it. So to change that, we can change that separator value to be just nothing. So let's run it again. Sally, 20, you were born, oh, better, it fixed that exclamation point, right? But now we have, it's squished between the word N and the 2020. So I need to add a space right there. Okay, and you always, every time you make a change, you want to make sure you test your program so that you didn't, break something else. And there it is.